Hello everyone, this is Godzilla Games and today I'm going to give you a tutorial about how to play Chroma and what his abilities are, everything you need to know. Let's dive into it. Now before we dive in, I must tell you this video took me months to make. Months upon months of failing and experimenting, everything. Everything has come down to this one video. Now you might be wondering why I created this video. Is because I want to see more Chromas in the game because it's so useful and people should play him more. It's really that simple. Because right now the most popular Warframe in the game is a monkey that turns into air and moves around and then comes back again. From the first moment I saw Chroma, I immediately knew he was going to be a carry Warframe, and what carry Warframes or heroes are in every game is really simple, and it's just the same concept in every other game, and it's that these are Warframes or heroes that have a lot of abilities that join in and combine with their other abilities or weapons. It's really that simple. So the whole point is just to have no standalone abilities. That's just it. So let's take a quick look around at his abilities, shall we? Okay, so his first ability is called Spectral Scream, which uses 3 energy per second to do 400 damage in a 10-meter radius with a 100% status chance. I mean, that's not really good numbers. Now the ability by itself is pretty useless, but if you tap on it, you can change the element of your Warframe, and that's about all of the use it has. The other use is I just puke on people by the end of the mission once we reach there because I get bored. Now the second ability is called Elemental Ward. This is the ability you would take away from him if you use the Subsume ability on Helmet, and it's a defensive ability, so based on the element you are using, it will have different effects on your Warframe. Let's assume the range for all of them is 12 meters. The damage you'll do with the Fire Ward is 100 damage per second, plus you'll get 50% health, both scaling with strength, and I think the health part is the best part of the Fire Ward if you're looking to scale anything on that. So the second element is electricity. It gives you shield capacity and damages the enemies around you based on the damage they deal to you. So it's basically just thorn damage, but in a different kind of language. So don't get confused by the status chance and the damage multipliers you see on the screen. They are just retaliation damages. They don't really increase your own damage. The third one is Toxin. It gives you load speed, it gives you a chance to deal toxic damage, and it gives you holster damage. Now, the holster damage can be overlooked as it just lasts 3 seconds. I don't know about you, but I am crazy. I mean, I'm insane, but I'm not that crazy to change my weapon every second to just get, I don't know, to shoot 3 bullets and have maybe 50% more damage. I'm not gonna do that. The last one is the best one, called multiplies your armor by 145%, retaliates the damage you take directly back at the attacker after multiplying it by 3 and giving it a 25% chance of giving a cold status to your enemy. Now this is a video for you to see what happens and what changes in the stats of the ability if you mod it, in case you don't have the Chroma yet. Now let's talk about Vic's armor. This is his best ability. This is the only ability that we're going to focus on, and this is what makes Chroma very special. In an 18-meter radius around Chroma, it's going to give everyone and everything armor, damage, and 75% damage resistance. Basically, your damage increases when Chroma kills an enemy with a ranged weapon or gets damage to his health. On the other side, your armor increases when you kill someone with a melee weapon or Chroma gets hit on the shields. If you don't have shields, you don't get armor. Vic's armor even protects Chroma's objectives, which makes Chroma the best option for defense missions right after Frost. But who cares about that guy anyway? His fourth ability is called Effigy, which creates a sentry on where he is standing that pushes enemies back and damages them, and increases the amount of credits you pick up and increases the chance the credits drop. It's not much really. The energy consumption is too high and the damage is too low that if I even use all of my energy to damage a single enemy, he won't die. Needless to say, this ability is trash and we will not be using it, but
Mark, this is good news. We can finally do what we were meant to do, be who we were meant to be.
we can use the fourth slot to use another ability granted by the helmet to us called Empower. This ability really boosts Wick's armor because you only need to cast Wick's armor once. And once you cast Wick's armor, you have to max all of the stats and do not recast it until you do. If you cast Wick's armor again before you have maxed out all of the stats, you get decreased stats on the ability, so that's a no-no. If you have to cast it again just so it won't run out, you must repeat all of the steps in order and then recast the spell. I will show you what I mean inside this video, so keep watching. Now these videos are for me to show you that this build does work on steel path enemies and really high up enemies. Now let's talk about the mods that are specifically for Chroma. Nope, I'm not going to talk about that. The only mod that I'm going to talk about is Guardian Armor. A mod made for Wick's armor, his third ability. This ability gives him health and extends his ability by the amount of kills anyone under your care gets. So either if you or your allies get kills while anyone has this ability, they're going to extend the duration of this ability. One thing that goes unnoticed about this mod is that it changes the range of Wick's armor to affinity range. And basic affinity range is 50 meters, so that's more than twice the range. And for the people who think they should put mods in Chroma that reduce range, just don't. I mean, we all benefit from this, so why not share it? Do you know what's better than one Chroma? 4 Chromas, because that's what people become when you give them your ability. They simply become more Chromas. Besides, you can really feel it when your allies get excited because now they're doing 10 times more the damage they were doing. And you are protecting them with extra armor and resistance. And they are giving you more duration, more health. Just a reminder that you get healed by every kill your allies get too. And just a reminder that this mod gives you regeneration over 3 seconds. I cannot tell you how good that sounds because once you remove the cap, if there was a very low cap, you won't get any more heals, but this way you'll get infinite heals. And now we finally move on to the builds. I have 2 builds for this. One is what I call the lazy build. It's for the normal players, those who don't want to push too many buttons. And the second one is the one I call the gamer build. Now let's go back to the helmet section again, shall we? The best shards for the lazy build are the crimson shards. You put 5 crimson shards into the warframe and set them on ability strength, and then you're ready to go. Well, as for the arcanes, we got arcane acceleration and arcane blessing. Arcane acceleration basically works on almost everything because it speeds up your fire rate, and arcane blessing, which increases your health pool by every health orb you pick up. Now this is very important for late game plays since you need a lot of health pool if you're gonna survive those 1 million damages. Now let's see what we have. We've got sure-footed, physique, and augur message, fortitude, transient fortitude, vitality, archon continuity, adaptation, guardian armor, shock absorber, blind range. Now let's calculate how much damage reduction you'll get from these mods. Shock absorbers gives you 20% damage reduction. Adaptation gives you a maximum number of 90% damage reduction. And the armors itself gives you around 85% maybe in damage reduction. That comes down to a 3,000 of the whole damage they are dealing to you. Now this isn't a really best build for the late game, because when your enemies are dealing millions upon millions of damage and you take even a little bit of it, you're still gonna die. So anyway, this is a video of me showing you a survival arbitration mission, and why I did this. It's because, well, if you die in a survival arbitration, the mission ends. I'm just going to prove it to you that it works. This isn't really the optimal build for Chroma, hence the name Lazy Build, but it certainly gets the job done. The real weakness you have is boss fights. With this build, you seriously are gonna have a real problem in the boss fights, because most of the boss fights have either a cutscene or something else, and then escort you to a new level, which all of your abilities just disappear, and you're gonna get all of that damage and armor back, and you can't, because now it's only one boss that's going to fight you. So this build doesn't really cover anything. As a matter of fact, if you're going to fight a boss in a boss fight, I'd recommend you using maybe Valkyr or Mirage, since Mirage can activate all of her abilities without doing anything. But if you're insane like me and you would like to use Chroma for everything, which is like trying to hammer a needle with a scissor, if you hate your life, hate your wife, hate your fingers, hate your keyboard, this is the build for you. Okay, let's get back to the helmet. Now the Archon shards you're gonna need for this one are the violet shards. Set the violet shards to primary electricity damage and have some fun with it. Now the reason I chose this one is because the electricity does combine with your mods, so the damage actually escalates a lot, and it does combine with your mods, so this is the best choice. If you look at any of the other shards, they don't combine with mods. This is the main problem I have with the other mods and shards. Really, I think this is the only option available to you. I really don't want to make Chroma a melee hero, because we have that already and those are really better at it. There is Valkyr, this is Kullervo, there is almost everyone, Atlas, Baruch, you name it. So once again we have the Arcane Blessing and Arcane Acceleration, which are required. The Blessing is required for you to survive, and the Acceleration just really pumps up your damage. Archon Continuity, Adaptation, Guardian Armor, Boreal's Anguish, Aviator, Transient Fortitude, Amar's Hatred, Blind Range, and of course the Augur Message. As you can see, the whole build is built around flying and staying in the air. For a very long time I was wondering why Chroma, a Dragon Knight, someone who's very strong, really strong, would have a passive of having just one additional jump. And then I discovered maybe I could use this additional jump to my own benefit. So as you can see, this gamer build was the thing I came up with, and Chroma was really built for this. Now what you want to do again is wear this melee weapon called Tombow, go to the mods and wear something called Boreal's Contempt. It reduces the damage while airborne by a 20%, which is really amazing because we're not going to use the melee weapon itself, but we're going to use its benefits for ourselves. Also, there's this primary arcane that I use a lot called Primary Bulwark that is really amazing. For each unit of armor past 1000, you get a percentage to your damage up to a 500%. Now, why does this matter? Let's say you're up against a boss and bam, there it goes, 500% more damage. It's not passive damage, so that's even better because this is active damage. 500% more damage. Active damage means the damage doesn't diminish because when you stack damage upon damage, the damages diminish. Also, your Vix armor won't help you much in boss fights because there's no one else to kill. So, damage just from thin air is great. So let's calculate the amount of damage resistance we have. I don't know what formula they use. I don't want to know. I just know the more damage resistance types you have, the better. So damage resistances get capped at some point, but each layer of resistance adds another layer of resistance, if you know what I mean. As of right now, I have 100% damage when I'm up in the air, but that really isn't true, is it? Because we're still taking damage. Okay, so let's calculate how much damage resistance we have at this point. Let's say we have 90% damage resistance while we're up in the air. We have adaptation, which is another 90% damage resistance. We have your armor, which is like 85%. Remember, the armor gets capped. And then we have the Wix armor itself, which is another 75% damage resistance. And what you get is 1/30,000th of a damage, which basically divides the damage by 30,000, which is really amazing. Now it's not zero damage, but it's pretty close, pretty close. So now that I've told you what to build on him, let's teach you how to play him. So remember the ability I told you to infuse in him? The Empower? Let's use it. You put down Wellspring, you use Empower, and then you use Vex Armor. Pretty simple, right? Except for one thing, you should not use Vex Armor again until you have maxed out your armor bonus and your damage bonus. Remember, these things have a maximum amount and they will decrease by the amount if you use Vex Armor again, but if you use Vex Armor by Empower and reach the max point, if you use Vex Armor again, it will not reduce it. It will simply stay as is and you will not have to use Empower ever again. You just use it once by the beginning of the mission and that's it. If your time is running out before you reach the max, you must repeat all of the steps again. Also, my build requires a lot of energy, so just switch to the Zenuric Focus School, because why not? This is a really good school, and it gives you ability strength, it gives you energy, best school around. You need to switch to Operator, and then switch back, and then use 4, that's Empower, use 3, that's Reverse Armor, and you're ready to go again. Alright everyone, thank you for watching. So what are your thoughts on my build? And if you have any ideas, just comment below, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, bye.